Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher, and hopefully you. You are the key person here. We want to hear from you. This is where we take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us, and that includes our relationship with the church and with our priests. And it's very, very important. Today, we're going to be talking about that. So we want you to weigh in, right, Jerry?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I got an inspiration for this topic because throughout my life, there have been so many times, and I think this probably is familiar to all those who are listening, or many who are listening, I have just poured out my heart, my life story, my faults, my failings, my strengths, my weaknesses, basically to a priest. Sometimes I've done this to priests that I had maybe just met, like at a conference or something. You don't even really meet, quote unquote. Maybe you just go to confession. But there's a certain freedom that I have felt, Debbie. I know you felt it. Many of our listeners have felt it, to really just pour out your heart to a priest. Why is that? We want to hear from you today. Do you feel that freedom? Do you feel comfortable doing that? Do you feel really uplifted after you do that? Why is it that we look at a priest and we say, this is someone I'm safe with, this is someone my secrets are safe with, and this is someone who can give me some good advice and, of course, even absolve my sins? So
That's right.
Why do we feel that way? Here's the number, 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
That brings me back to when we met many years ago, Father John, and at the LA Rec. And instantly when I first met him and I saw him, we just instantly connected. And I felt like I knew him forever. And we have since, both of us, developed an incredible relationship with Father John. He's amazing, and he listens to the show. So if you're listening, Father, we love you so very, very much. And we do pour our hearts out to you because we do trust you. But you know what's interesting, Jerry? As you put this show topic on the calendar, and on our show document, I was thinking about it, and then I thought, well, how, because I worked for parishes for many, many years, so I worked with a lot of priests. And by the way, folks, we need to fill up those phone lines. Why is it that we do feel so comfortable with our priests, and we are willing to, open up our whole entire lives and everything that's deep and very, very private to us? Please dial in 833-288-3986. Remember, there are a lot of non-Catholics that are seeking Catholicism that are listening right now, and this could really help them understand better the role of the priesthood. So please call in 833-288-3986. But this is a true story, Jerry. I think about my pastor when I was going through my horrific divorce, and when I found out that there was a major betrayal in my marriage at the time, and I ended up in the hospital. And when I woke up, my pastor was feeding me saltine crackers. I'll never forget it. And I look up and I said, Father Greg, what are you doing here? He says, well, I didn't know what else to do but feed you crackers. But that's how close, that he walked with me in my journey of marriage and my spiritual life. And then plus I worked for him. So we were very close. But I mean, for him to feel that comfortable, even with me, to come to the hospital and to sit there and feed me saltine crackers when I didn't even know he was there. I mean, we do develop a very close relationship with our priests. And I believe, Jerry, real quickly, if I may, I'm hogging. That's why I believe that so many Catholics get hurt so deeply when they find out that their priests have, committed a sin or something has happened in their life that tarnishes that image. It hurts it deeply. It wounds the soul of Catholic, the lay faithful.
Mm-hmm. That was beautifully put. And I have a story that I want to share too here as well. But I want to give the phone number out because we have some lines are occupied already, about half of them still available. 833-288-3986. And maybe it's not a priest, maybe it's a religious sister, a nun, maybe it's a religious brother. They're not ordained, of course, to be able to absolve sins and so forth, but we do open up to our religious as well. So let's talk about this. Why are we so free to do that? 833-288-3986. And this is from Sir Alec Guinness's Wikipedia page. He says, while serving in the Royal Navy, Guinness had planned to become an Anglican priest. In 1954, while he was filming Father Brown in Burgundy, Guinness, who was in costume as a Catholic priest, was mistaken for a real priest by a local child. Guinness was far from fluent in French, and the child apparently did not notice that Guinness did not understand him, but took his hand and chatted while the two strolled. The child then waved and trotted off. The confidence and affection the clerical attire appeared to inspire in the boy left a deep impression on the actor. When their son was ill with polio at the age of 11, Guinness began visiting a church to pray. A few years later, in 1956, Guinness converted to the Roman Catholic Church.
Wow.
And his wife, who is of paternal Sephardi Jewish descent, I hope I said that right, followed suit in 1957 while he was filming a movie, The Bridge on the River Kwai, and she informed him only after the filming of the movie. So here you got an example that this little boy sees someone who's not a priest, but he thinks he's a priest. And he runs up, and I understand he said, mon père, my father, and then just poured his heart out. Sir Alec Guinness didn't understand maybe a word of it, and then off went the child, and this stayed with Alec Guinness and really helped to prompt him later to become Catholic.
Wow, what an amazing story. Did you just stumble upon that, or did you always know that?
I've known that for many, many years, actually. The former Rosalind Moss, now Mother Miriam, of the Lamb of God, shared that story with me when we were working together at Catholic Answers.
Okay. Oh, fascinating. Well, see, and that also adds to, our priests need to realize, the responsibility they carry. And I think they do, hopefully, that their image plays a huge role in our lives and in the young children. That father image is very, very, very important, with a lot to talk about, and this is very important. And we're in Lent, the second day of Lent. A lot of people are thinking about going to confession. Some are thinking about going to confession for the first time in many, many years. We want you to have that amazing experience where you just let everything come out so that you can fly out of that confessional and be free of all those sins that have been weighing you down. Please fill up those last open phone lines. Matt Gabinski, he likes to answer calls. He doesn't want to sit there and just tap his fingers, okay? So here's the number, 833-288-3986. This is a great topic that Jerry put on the calendar, entrusting our hearts to priests today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Mother Angelica, Scott Hahn, Father Wade Menezes. You'll hear the leading Catholic voices on the largest Catholic media network in the world. This is the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Psalm 1, verse 1 says, "Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scorners." What does that mean? Don't hang around with bad people? No. According to G.K. Chesterton, it means something much better than that. He says that there are certain people who, because they are really pure, create a good atmosphere around themselves. They are truly children of light, and that light shines on everything they touch. So it's not that hanging around bad people makes us bad. It's that being righteous can help make the people around us righteous too.
Spend more time with the Apostle of Common Sense. Visit chesterton.org for more information and go to EWTNRC.com to discover more books and programs written and inspired by G.K. Chesterton.
EWTN Media Missionaries prayerfully take EWTN to parishes and the community through the print and electronic media we provide. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating. We have a number of ways that you can do that by phone and many other means as well. We'll give you a rundown of those here shortly. I wanted to let you know before we go to the phone calls about EWTN Pro-Life Weekly email. Prudence Robertson keeps you informed and educated with the latest news and truth on abortion, euthanasia, assisted suicide, and the entire culture of death on EWTN Pro-Life Weekly. And this week, Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee Tennessee will react to President Biden's State of the Union speech, and we get an update from Applog's Dr. Christina Francis on their annual conference and the case of UK abortion doctor Dermot Carney, and also much more. Visit EWTN.com and click on subscribe to get the EWTN Pro-Life Weekly email.
I so love getting all the emails from EWTN, all the resources. It really keeps us up to date, folks. So if you can subscribe, please do so. There is an open phone line. It has your name on it. If you have poured out your heart to a priest, a deacon, a religious sister, and you want to talk about that, how incredible that was to have that connection, to feel that connection to God through our religious, please. Call in. This is the time. Don't wait. Okay. We can't be doing part twos all the time, folks, because this is Lent. So we got a lot of things planned for you. 833-288-3986. And what I mean by that is don't wait till the last minute to call in. Call in early, like Linda. Linda's in Colorado listening on Catholic Radio Network. Hi, Linda. Welcome.
Hi, Debbie. Your and Jerry's show is wonderful. I love it. I've never called in before, but you just caught me at a time where I thought, okay, now's the time. When I was in the 8th grade many years ago, I took a train ride by myself from Nebraska to Missouri. And I was scared, but it was going to be in the daytime, so I figured I could do it. I wanted to get there. And so my uncle was to take me to the train station, and he procrastinated, and we missed the train. So he said, don't worry, you're going to get on another train today. It'll leave at 9 o'clock, and you're going to have a couple-hour layover about midnight. And I'm like, oh, great. And now I'm really scared. So anyway, that's what happened, and I got to the train station, and immediately appeared this nun, in habit, of course, and I just felt a peace about me. I'd never seen her before. I went and sat down by her, started talking, and she was with me for the full 2 hours.
Wow.
And, you know, we need more nuns today. Mm-hmm. They had such an impact on my life, and I thank them for that.
Wow. That's beautiful, Linda. You had never seen her before, and that's kind of partly about what we're talking about here is, whether we've known a priest or a religious for a very long time and gotten to really know them deeply like Debbie did with her pastor, or maybe it's just the first time chance encounter like you had right here. God knew what you needed. You were young, as you said, you were a child, you were scared. I remember taking a bus ride across the state of Washington to go to a basketball camp when I was a young boy, and that was traumatic for me. The camp was great, but getting on that bus to go over there was really difficult for me to do, especially by myself. So God provided you with that beautiful religious sister to help, ease your mind and give you really a peaceful trip, it sounds like.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and again, the beauty of our God, Linda, when I hear these stories and how God is watching out for each and every one of us uniquely and personally. We're not just a speck in the big, vast universe. We mean something to God. We mean everything to God. And so that positioning of that nun at that perfect time for you, that's what you needed. And see how wonderful is that? And that's a connection to God. I love your story. I hope you tell it often.
I do. Thank you. And God bless both of you. You do a wonderful job.
Thank you, Linda. Very kind of you to join us and for those words. We appreciate it very much. And thanks for being a part of the Take Two family. Yes, Debbie.
And I just want to say something. If Linda's still listening, Jerry, you'll get a kick out of this because when back in the day, 2 years ago, when we were traveling to stations for pledge drives, Jerry and I would be in airports together, and Jerry would see me break away from us walking to the gate, and I'd beeline it for any priest that was wearing their cassock. I love when priests wear their cassocks in the airport terminals. And do you remember, Jerry? There was something going on in the country, and everybody was like, there was some tension or whatever. And remember, I beelined it for this one priest, this young priest, and started to run away from me. I think he thought I was going to yell at him or something. I just said, Father, I just want to say hi, and can you give us a blessing and everything? And it was so sweet, because then he warmed up, but he started to move away. He got a little nervous that he thought maybe I was charging at him, but I really wasn't. I was just trying to catch up to him. But, see, it's interesting how we want to have that connection, and yet, there a lot of times our priests are met with a lot of, anger. People will take out their anger very quickly at priests. So that's why I believe, Jerry, what you say all the time, that we really must pray for our priests.
Absolutely. A line open, 833-288-3986. If you've just come on board the program, we are talking about priests today and our relationship with them, whether we know them well or not. They're just, for me, I know, and for Debbie, and for probably most of us, there's a freedom to really just pour out our souls, bare our entire souls and our lives to priests. And we want to know, what you think leads us to do that. If you've had that experience, maybe you've had a different experience, you can certainly call in and talk about that. 833-288-3986. And we'll go to Fort Myers, Florida. Betsy is a first-time caller listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Betsy.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I had to call because I was thinking about this time that I hadn't been to confession for like 30 years. And so I went to the church, and I waited a long time. It was the first Saturday. I finally got in. I was the last person to get in, and I'll never forget this priest. He was Irish, and he was retired, Father O'Connor. And I by the time I got there, I had all this time to think about all the stuff that happened in 30 years. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I started crying. And he said, oh, what happened? Did you kill somebody, Betsy? And I'm like, no, I didn't kill anybody. But we had a great conversation. We actually became good friends after that. And I visited him until he passed. But it was a great experience because he just was the old-fashioned Irish priest that you hear and see occasionally, and it was just such a nice friendship that Father O'Connor and I had. But it was just a lovely. After 30 years, it was like a big weight was off my shoulders. It was great.
Yeah, that's a huge way to get lifted, Betsy. But here's what I love what you said about what Father did. He really connected. He really connected with you. And because of that, I'm sure you were free to even share more and more and more and more, right? Because sometimes when you have that graciousness of what a priest can do to make you feel comfortable, it actually allows you to want to give over everything that you've been carrying and everything that's been weighing you down. And I think that is so beautiful that Father had that disposition with you, because I'm sure that 30 years it just took off and flew off into the universe like a balloon ascending, and it just relieved you of so much. And so I thank him for that, because that was important. Because if you had a different experience, right, if it was a little bit colder or quick or something like that, you may not have been feel so relieved. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. But the other thing was I was the last one in line, and it was he had such a great sense of humor. He's like, oh my God, they're gonna think you killed somebody, Betsy, because we've been in here so long. And I said, no, Father, we're the last one. I'm the last one, so it worked out just great. But it was just a lovely, lovely encounter, and he was such a lovely priest. I really miss him.
Yeah, that's hearing you share this, Betsy, it just highlights a real important point, and that is the demeanor of a priest is so important. And the truth is, they are who they are. They are in the person of Christ, so that is sort of the divine side of the priest. They're not divine, but they have that mark on their soul that allows them to do things that only Jesus can do by virtue of their ordination. But they're also human. The men bring their past, they bring their wounds, they bring their personalities to their vocation. Sometimes we forget about that. And Debbie, you were alluding earlier to the fact that we hold them in such high esteem, and they do have such a sublime calling, that when they do fall in some way, it hurts a little bit more. Yeah, hurts a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you've entrusted everything, to them. You've bared your soul. You've really been close. Your families are close. I mean, it's devastating, and a lot of people walk away, unfortunately, from the faith because of it. And I always tell people, that's not the reason why you're Catholic. You're Catholic because of the belief that Jesus left us and has been carried on for 2,000 years. So you stay Catholic because of what we believe. The Eucharist, the source and summit of our faith, very important. It's not because you don't do that. If you focus all on the priests, that's a problem. That's, wouldn't you say, Jerry?
Well, you're setting yourself up, for potential disappointment. But I was going to say we're Catholic because of tomorrow's topic, and that is the Eucharist, the true presence of Christ. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. So looking forward to it.
Okay, so Betsy, everybody's saying you nailed the great Irish accent. Way to go!
Oh.
You should, yeah.
Yeah, I've had a bit of practice being friends with him. But I want to say one more thing about that. I had another friend who would not go back to the church because of all the abuse. And I said, you're throwing away the bath with the bathwater, because everybody's human and everybody makes mistakes, but you still have the divine, the
Aspect.
Mother Church that you're throwing away. So, look at it like that.
Well, Betsy, you nailed it. Okay, that's what we need to hold on to, and that's what we need to believe is the divine aspect of it. Okay, you nailed it. That is perfect. And the human aspect, which is the humanness of the priests, what do you think Satan is going to go after? He's going to go after that. And when they are weak, when they are tired, when they're depressed, when they're not on their game, when they're not praying, when they're not fully living an authentic life, guess what? Satan's going to find that crack and get right in there. And then what happens? Everything topples, because we do sometimes hold priests on a pedestal, and when they fall, it cracks everything. And that's not a good thing. That's why we got to pray for our priests that they stay strong and they stay holy. They stay holy. My pastor is so awesome, Monsignor Peter. He is so great. He says, I must stay holy, because when I stay holy, my whole entire flock, the parishioners, they stay holy.
That's right. Betsy, thank you for your call. We appreciate it. Hope you'll be a second-time caller sometime soon.
Oh, okay. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
Betsy.
All right.
Jerry?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Paul is a first-time caller from Georgia. Paul, you were next, okay, and somehow you dropped. Matt Gabinski is trying desperately to hold an open line for you so you can call back. So, Paul from Georgia, you have some very powerful things to say, and we would love to hear him. Please call back and tell Matt to push you up to the front of the line.
All right. From a Betsy, we go to a Beth in Louisiana, listening on the EWTN app.
Yes, I want to call in to say the reason I was drawn to the church because of our priests, and it's kind of funny in this day and age of a lot of people have left the church because of the scandals of our priests, and because of the abuse. What drew me there was really the father crisis in the world and in the family. My home, my father's situation was very not very good at all, and just spent a lot of my childhood in problems with depression. And in high school, it was a priest that came that was put as pastor, that he was just very loving, very kind, and just was so vibrant and wanted to bring our church family together. And you just saw our church just explode with everyone wanting to be a part of the church, and just so many activities. So I just want to say he kind of just showed me like almost that I could look towards our priest as really kind of a father figure that I didn't have at home. So it's funny that, many people left the church because they felt about the abuse, but it's like I came to the church because I was wanting to leave the abuse, and it was the priest that drew me there and drew me close to the faith that I was not grown up with, other than, like many, you make communion and that's it. You don't know anything else about your faith. So it was definitely, for me, priests were definitely father figures, and were awesome examples of what I didn't grow up with. And I would imagine that, we have a father crisis in our country, and a lot of people probably feel the same way. They look at their priests as, the figures that they didn't receive at home.
Right. Many excellent points, Beth, and we will continue. If you can hold on just for a second here, we're going to have a very brief pause. I've got some reflections I would like to share briefly, and I know Debbie does as well. So, Beth in Louisiana, hold on there. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. We've got full phone lines, so we'll get back to Beth and the others in just a moment. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious. How do you know I have something to say? Are you just assuming I have something to say?
Well, when I say that, then you have to come up with something to say.
I thought you meant I talk too much.
Well, it's like on the prayer show, what are you praying for? At the end, Jerry's going to pray for all of us.
Right.
Oh, did we talk about that?
Oh, I love this show.
I know you're going to have something brilliant to say as always.
Aw, thanks, Jer. Okay, this is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you, so please call us.
This is a Messy Family Minute with Mike and Alicia Hernan. Some people are down on setting goals, saying, what's the point? We make a plan and then it fails. If this describes you and your family life, I want to tell you, don't be discouraged. Failure is actually part of the learning process. Everyone is going to fail. The question is, what do we do with that failure? Failure teaches us what not to do, how to overcome adversity, and sometimes what our limits are.
Failure can also inspire creativity, collaboration with others, and a deeper reliance on God. Really? The only failure are those situations that we don't learn from. We need to pick ourselves up and try again. For the sake of our family, we can never stop trying to improve our marriage, ourselves, and our parenting.
Entrust everything, including our failures, to our Heavenly Father. We invite you to join our family board meeting course and let us walk with you to discover God's unique call for your marriage and family. Find out about this valuable tool at our website, messyfamilyminute.org.
You can be a part of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Text EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response, then text us with your first name and question. It's that easy. Message and data rates may apply.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
Hey, I'm Michael O'Neill, the Miracle Hunter. This week we talk about medical healings at Lourdes with Dr. Alessandro De Franciscis. Also, we welcome Elena Popovich, writer, director, and producer of the film Man of God.
The Miracle Hunter with Michael O'Neill. Saturday afternoon, 1 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. We embrace the essence of feminine spirituality on Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. Thanks to our show team. Ace McKay is our producer. We've got Matt Gabensky on the phones, and Jeff Burson is monitoring your social media comments on Facebook and YouTube, where the video stream is airing each day as well. Phone number 833-288-3986. We are talking with Beth in Louisiana, listening on the EWTN app. And Beth, it's beautiful what you said, especially how you said you saw this priest as a father figure. I grew up basically without my dad, didn't know him very well either. And there's a reason why we call men ordained to the priesthood father, and it's very simple. It's analogous. We look at, what do? They birth us in baptism. They feed us in the Eucharist, nourish us. They bind up our wounds in confession. It's so analogous to what an earthly father should do for his family. And some people object to that. They cite the verse in Matthew 23, I think it is, call no man father. But St. Paul, throughout many of his writings, refers to himself as the father of Timothy, and you're my spiritual son, and these sorts of things. So if we took that literally, we couldn't call our biological dad father. So a priest truly is a spiritual father for us. What do you think, Deb?
Oh, I completely agree. And Beth, I was sharing with Jerry on the break that I worked at many different parishes for 25 years, and I will share with you, Beth, that I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying about the father figure. When priests live out their vocation well. And what I mean by that is when they're praying, when they're really authentically being who they say they are, and they're living out and they're striving for holiness, and they're working at it each and every day, and they are really putting their heart and soul into it. I have seen priests show up, and it is amazing what they have done in crisis situations, in other areas for families, for children, for whole communities. Priests, when they live out their vocation well, it is amazing, and you can feel the hand of God so through all of their work, their ministry work they do. So I agree with you, Beth, and that's why maybe this is a call we have a lot of priests that listen to this show, and maybe you're a wonderful priest. God bless you. That's great, but maybe you need some areas of work to do in your own life, your own spiritual life. Please do it now, because we need you now more than ever. What do you think, Beth?
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, it's amazing with a priest, the impression or the example they can be to others, and especially for people who are again just suffering and with all their wounds. They're that person that they can look to and say, hey, there's something more. There's something more there, and it's not just not just on a human level, but it also, like I said, it just kind of opened the door. If there's, when you didn't really get a good faith or any good grounding, it just really starts to make me question, well, all this time, did I even really believe in God? It just kept going from that point on. It started opening the door to me realizing, where is my faith? Did I even believe in God at the time? And wanting to, go further with that and pursue that relationship with God, get to know Him. So.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It sounds like you've been on a really blessed journey, Beth, and we hope that will continue. You grow closer to the Lord, deeper in your appreciation of our priests, and of course with the Eucharist, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. So thank you, Beth. Debbie, anything parting words for Beth?
No, I just want to say, Beth, we're so grateful that you called in. Thank you so much. Please call us again, okay? We're together in this journey, this walk, of life, our spiritual lives, and we really believe in living out the mystical body of Christ. And Beth, you really graced this conversation today.
All right, thank you for taking my call.
You're very welcome. From there, we'll go to Abilene, Texas. Suzanne is listening on our friends at Guadalupe Radio Network. Hello, Suzanne.
Hi, how are you?
Better now that you called.
Thank you very much. I keep my radio on to EWTN radio just constantly, and I had just finished up my shift at the Adoration Chapel, and I heard you and Debbie talking, and I think Linda may have been your first caller, and she was the one who shared that she was nervous about a trip she was taking. A nun stepped on, I think it was a train maybe, and that it made her feel so much better. And she said, we need more nuns. And I called in and said that I just wanted to make a shameless plug. If someone's parish is not praying for an increase in vocations, they should. I came from a diocese that had a very strong program, the Diocese of Fort Worth. And over a few years of the churches all together having what we called a chalice program, and a family would take the chalice home. It happened at the end of Mass before the final blessing. They would receive the chalice. The congregation would pray that there be people willing to say yes to God and consider the priesthood, religious life, becoming a brother, a nun. And we filled our seminary that we used. I'm now in a diocese that doesn't have that strong a program, and I have a list of things I want to talk to my priest about. But I was telling, I've forgotten his name. Is it Matthew that is your call screener?
Yes, Matt Gabensky, yeah.
That this is my belief, that if we show to our children and to young adults that we, as a congregation of many people, a variety of workplaces and homes and education and ages, that we stand together as a group and say, we want you to answer God's call, that shows to young people this is important. It's as important as anything else I could consider to do with my life, and it's safe to consider this because you all think it's important. So I'm just making that plug. We sadly face a situation where we truly could run out of priests. And in some areas, we may only see a priest every once in a while. And I seen how successful this was in the Diocese of Fort Worth. Every church needs to have some sort of communal, out loud prayer for an increase of vocation.
Suzanne, my heart is beating a mile a minute. I don't know how often you listen to the show, or if you know, I spent 6 years in formation for the priesthood, did not get ordained, but I answered that call to go and discern that seriously. And I actually just within the last week, I have spoken with my pastor about creating a program like you're talking about, where a family takes a chalice home or a crucifix or something, and then there's a special connection and prayers to the priesthood and vocations. And my pastor talks about it all the time. He talked about it this morning. We have some beautiful Sacred Heart sisters that come to our morning masses. They're in our parish. Our pastor talks about his vocation all the time. We have a seminarian from our parish. His father is in the permanent diaconate program. So vocations are very, very huge in our parish. And I agree. You know, we're told in, let me see, where is it? It's in Matthew 9, ask the Lord or pray the Lord of the harvest to send laborers into the harvest. What is implied there, in my mind anyway, it's not an absolute situation where vocations are dependent on our prayers, but in a way, Jesus is saying, you pray to the Lord of the harvest, and he will send laborers into the harvest. So we have that role to play, Suzanne. You are exactly right. And I wish every parish had a Suzanne in it, because things would be a lot different, I think, with vocations. I could go on a long time about this, Debbie, but I'll let you say something.
Well, I just want to affirm what both of you are saying, and I agree wholeheartly. That's why I'm a firm believer in perpetual adoration at parishes to increase vocations. And Suzanne, there's some current day mystics around the world. One of them I know in particular that has been receiving inspirations or messages from God, from Jesus, that he wants to pray for the priests, to pray for vocations, for more for holy vocations. Okay, so this is a private revelation, but let's assume for the sake of this conversation that is true. It's coming from Jesus. Well, Jesus himself is telling us to do this. Okay, so we need to do this. We need to really join together as the faithful, because we are all the church. We are all the church. Okay, and it's important, and we all have roles to play, and our cooperation means everything to our God. So I'm a firm believer of it, Suzanne. You're not going to get any a disagreement from me at all.
Well, and we definitely need to see more young people considering religious life. And unfortunately, so many communities don't have a monastery nearby where there are brothers, or there's not a group of nuns assigned to work in that parish. So since we don't have their public presence, I think by praying specifically that people consider the priesthood, the religious life, that we're bringing their presence into our community. And we also, I want to add this, we need to also pray for everyone who is currently in seminary, who is undertaking their, going through discernment and doing their vows in different nunneries and monasteries, and to pray for existing priests and deacons, because the evil one does not want any of that to be successful, to happen. And we must pray for their safety from him.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to not only pray for an increase of vocations, but we need to also pray to bless and to keep safe the people that have answered the call.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't be, praying for a seminarian, and then when he gets ordained, we go, whew, okay, he made it. Good.
Right.
And at that point, he needs prayers even more because, if Satan cannot stop a man from becoming a priest, he's going to try to cause him to fall from grace in his vocation. And a final note, Suzanne and Debbie, I've always said when a man gets ordained a priest, we know the clothes he wears, the clerics, the black clothes with the white tab. I always say there's a big bullseye also right on his chest when he gets ordained. The enemy hates the priesthood because the priest is Christ to us. He is in persona Christi. So you are right on, Suzanne. Thank you so much for all that you shared today. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Suzanne. And I just want to do a plug for Sarah Club. Great to support seminarians. I agree with Suzanne. I was a big promoter of Sarah Club for many, many years. Helped to form a chapter here where I live. And I'll tell you what, they do great work to support the seminarians.
Mm-hmm. Well, we continue along here. Phones remain busy. We're going to get to as many of you as we can. We are going to go to Floyd, who is in, you might have to help me, Floyd, Opelousas, Louisiana. Am I close?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Bingo.
Hi, Floyd.
Can you hear me? Hi. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller. I've been listening for some time now. Just want to give the hats off to Mr. Father Mitch Pacwa. I've met him. I've hunted with him. I've been on some hunting retreats with him. For people that haven't had a chance to meet him or watch him on the programs, truly a man of God. His education is through the roof. I've met quite a few priests in my time, but Father Mitch is so unique with his language, his understanding of words, and when he talks to you, whether it's in harmony or in person, he'll take his time and break down a word that he might have said a few minutes ago or seconds ago and explain where that word came from. His education just takes me away every chance I get to meet with the guy I do. He is phenomenal.
Wow. Well, you're right, Floyd. Yeah, we agree. Not a whole lot more we can say. Father Mitch Pacwa is a very a pillar at EWTN. He's been there for a long time. He took over EWTN Live when Mother Angelica could no longer do it. And you talked about his intellectual abilities. I have been actually had the blessing of staying in Father Mitch's house one time when I was visiting EWTN. We went to the gym together, and he takes his language books there, and in between sets of lifting weights, he's conjugating verbs and studying, nouns and sentence construction, and it's just amazing. I mean, he's Jesuits are known for being, academics and intellectual, and he has taken that to the next level, Debbie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. I so agree. He's amazing. We love him. And Floyd, thank you for recognizing his value to all of us and how much we depend on him. And he's a great shepherd. So yeah, we agree. Thank you, Floyd, so very much. You're a first-time caller, but that was it. You're never going to be a first-time caller again. So will you try giving us a ring again?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Have a beautiful and blessed Lent, Floyd.
Okay. We heard from Hawk, who was watching the video stream on YouTube in New Zealand. He says, God bless you, Jerry and Debbie. Unfortunately, the only parish I have available is a liberal one. Indeed, New Zealand as a whole is liberal, sympathetic to the German Synod, which is going in a very bad direction. Mm-hmm. Our parish doesn't offer adoration. Can I pray adoration to one of the YouTube streams of adoration? Answer is yes. EWTN.com has, I believe, daily Eucharistic adoration online. And he says, or can I pray adoration at home another way or to the tabernacle? Hawk, if you can't, if you can do it online. If you can't get to a church that has adoration or even access to a tabernacle, my spiritual director one time said, just orient my heart in the direction of the nearest parish. You don't have to physically face the parish, like if you're in a bedroom or something, but in your heart, just say, I want to be in adoration at, St. John's Parish, down the street or something like that.
I completely agree. And I forgot to wave because I think you're watching on YouTube. Is it YouTube? And also too, when the churches were all closed due to the pandemic, I know a lot of people that sat in the parking lot to be close to the tabernacle, to be close to Jesus, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So please do so. Stay connected. And Jerry, did you want to share with our listeners a couple highlights first?
Sure. Light of the East Radio, Sunday morning, 11:30 Eastern Time on EWTN Radio. Father Thomas Loya and his guests explore the rites of the Eastern Catholic churches that are in full communion with the Holy Father. Light of the East Radio, Sunday morning at 11:30. And we have congratulations to send out to several of our EWTN family members. St. Paul Catholic Radio, WKER in Augusta, Georgia, is celebrating their 10th anniversary this week. And Billings Catholic Radio, KJCR in Billings, Montana, is celebrating 11 years of solid Catholic radio. So congratulations from all of us at EWTN.
This is so beautiful. Folks are calling in wanting to do shout outs to their pastors. I think that is so wonderful. And they need that support. They need those affirmations. Okay, Chris is up next in Massachusetts on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Chris. Thanks for waiting and welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. I try to listen to your show as much as I can. I listen at work. EWTN is the only radio station I play when I'm in my car. And so I just wanted to share a couple of quick things about our priests in our parish. We have a collaborative, and our priests have been really amazing, and they're doing so much to help foster vocations and help people through the pandemic. One of our priests does a 10 to 12, 15-minute video every week with a message, and his message is so from the heart. He takes examples from his life as he was growing up, up through his adult life, and he just makes the scriptures so meaningful. You can apply the scriptures to your life by listening to him. Just today, actually, he called me because I had been speaking with one of the women in the parish office who I've grown close to and feel very comfortable with regarding some family situations. And our daughter was in a horrific automobile accident recently. And even before the accident, we were in the position where we had to tell her, or we're going to tell her, that she was not going to be able to stay in our home any longer because of her lifestyle and choices. And now that she is pretty much paralyzed right now, she will be able to walk again, but she's suffering from this accident and still has her habits and issues, and we just can't bring her home. We're raising her daughter, and we just can't bring her back into the house, and it just is hurting me so much. But my priest called me today because the woman in the office said I had given her permission to talk to Father, and he related an incident from his family when he had a brother that had to be sent away from their house, and it was just, it's such a tough decision to make, but I feel like by being able to talk with him about it and hear his experience, that I can find peace with this and knowing that this is what God needs for not only for our family but for our daughter.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chris, you may know from listening to the program, we have a prayer book. Debbie keeps the names of all those who we want to pray for, living and deceased, and so we have put you, your daughter, your entire family in our prayer book, so be assured of the round-the-clock, 24-hour prayers of the Take Two family around the world. And we're so very, very sorry about your daughter's accident. Praise be to God, she's going to be able to walk again. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the Lord allows these things, as you know, Chris, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, allows these things to happen to, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it, to get our attention. And we hope and pray that, your example, the rest of your family's example, and God's gentleness and grace acting in this, recovery and rehabilitation for your daughter will indeed turn her heart toward him. That will be our prayer for your daughter. Debbie?
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, Chris, you have a lot of support, okay? A lot of prayers around you, but you have a lot of heavenly support. You have the angels, the guardian angels. You have the saints. Call upon everyone to help you and your family during this time. You've got a lot you guys are navigating and working through, and you need all that support, and it's there. So never lose hope because it's right there, okay?
Thank you. Can I share one more very quick example of another priest?
Sure.
When I love the sacrament of reconciliation. I try to go at least once a month if I can. And one time when I was a few years ago, I had some particularly difficult things going on, and I brought things to reconciliation. And when it came time for the priest to give me my penance, he just took that burden from my heart, and he says, "For your penance," he said, I'm going to do it for you." And I mean, to this day, that is one of the most touching things ever, and it's just so compassionate. These are the kind of priests we have in our collaborative.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. Absolutely. But that's what we're talking about, the sign of support. We have the support here on this side of the veil, but we also have support from heaven, and that's the beauty of it. And Chris, when you've received that, you received that from the priest, and that's a wonderful thing. Receive it now in a bigger, grander way, because that's what our God wants for you and your family. Please know that. I'm a big believer in dreaming big with God, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Chris. I heard another priest, I might have been St. John Vianney, I think was a saint priest who did that. He would prescribe light penances and do the penances himself. Yeah. Andrew in San Antonio, we've got about 60 seconds, Andrew, but we wanted to fit you in today because you've been waiting a while. Hi there.
Good. Excuse me. Yes, sir. I'm here. Yes. Thank you.
Go
We
right
only
ahead.
have a few seconds. I'm sorry. I was inside of line at the tax assessor. I want to just say thank you to everybody, and I want to just give a shout out to Father Faith Macias from St. Leo's Catholic Church. He is not doing. I'm pretty sure he's doing great now, but he was not doing well, and he's not doing mass anymore. He went to go. I think he's in Austin, staying with his family. But anyway, he got sick and something happened to him. I'm not actually really sure the details, so I'm not going to go about that. But he is one of the greatest ever human beings. Beyond being a priest, you know what I'm saying? Just a human being, very intelligent, very smart man. But the last thing y'all had just said about how we need to be and become priests, everybody, or be nuns, everything. Because back a long time ago, we used to usher our children into the church. You know what I'm saying? And it was something great, like, oh, my son's gonna be a priest, or oh, my daughters are going to the sisterhoods, or everything. It was a great thing, and now we've gotten so far from it. We've gotten so far from that. And shoot, miss, I'm going right now to go sign up at the Ave Maria. I don't even play with me, miss. I would, miss, and I've been trying to, and that's why I was saying I really hang out with Mr. Father Faith Macias all the time, because he's been helping me figure all that stuff out. Because I was gonna do the Franciscans, the Franciscans over there on Kentucky Street by Little Flower Basilica. He says I could just go give all my stuff up. They'll give me a brown robe, and I can start tilling the grass right then and there. And I was like, I want to do it. But then, like we talked about it, because he also was going that direction. But no,
Andrew, bless you. I'm just going to have to forgive me, Andrew. I apologize. John, we're not going to get to you. But Andrew, you mentioned, I think you said his name was Father Frank. Some illness has made him not really able to say Mass and the sacraments. That's got to be a real cross for a priest to lose those abilities, so we'll definitely be praying for him. John, we'll pray for your pastor, Father Phil Smith, whom you wanted to give a shout out to as well. So
yeah, that's from Toledo, Ohio. I love that. Thank you, John. And the others, we're not going to get to you this time, but we'll revisit this topic. It's a great topic to have. Tomorrow we're talking about the Eucharist on First Friday, so please join us. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph, please pray for all of us.
Do you love to read great books? How about fellowshipping online with like-minded people? It's all in one place